Hi, and welcome to our podcast, Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson from the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams, and this is Bill Weidecker, my partner.
That's me.
That's him. So, Bill, you today we thought we would touch on some questions. You do the weekly radio show. Tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about that, please.
It's also called Good Deeds. It's on Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And so from that hour on Saturdays, it's all things real estate. Occasionally a little conversation about sports, but it's mostly real estate.
Favorite part.
I think the listeners love that. They do.
Yeah.
They tune in for real estate. They get other things that people really love when their expectations aren't met. But so we get, people text us questions all the time. And so there's only so much you can cover in an hour, and we move with stuff over to the following week. But I have a couple of questions that came in from our listener line.
Okay, shoot.
Here it is. Number one, is it too late to buy in Southern New Hampshire?
And the answer is?
Well, you want both questions? You want to answer this one first?
Let's answer that one first. I'd say absolutely not. While inventory is still low relative to other parts of the country, it's higher than it's been in the last few years, right?
Yeah.
So there are great opportunities for buyers, and interest rates are down a bit, yes?
They're the lowest they've been now in about 10 months.
Mm-hmm. And we're also seeing it be a sort of another buyer-friendly market, which means it's not driven by how much inventory or how many months of supply, but rather by the terms that buyers can and do include. We're seeing more home sale contingencies be accepted. We're seeing many more inspections, and so anyway, which that might be a segue.
We're getting
ahead of ourselves.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Darn,
but
I always do that.
To the point of, is it too late to buy a home?
No.
The answer is no. And also, Southern New Hampshire was just recognized, the Manchester-Nashua market, again, number one
in the country.
But from Realtor.com. And here's why. When you compare Southern New Hampshire to, let's say, Massachusetts, the numbers, it isn't too late. You go, oh, yeah, prices are too high. Comparatively speaking, they're a bargain when you look at the market in Massachusetts. And I do believe this affordability issue is going to work itself out over time because interest rates are stabilizing and maybe even coming down a little bit. We'll see. But we had a client yesterday that you were talking with that got a 6 1/8 mortgage. They paid a couple of points, but they're going to be there for a while, and it made a lot of good sense.
Yep.
So that was not, it wasn't long ago where we were tickling 8 about a year and a half ago.
Right.
So I think that's good news, and there's more, as you say, more inventory on the market. There's about 2,600 homes in Southern New Hampshire. In New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah.
And so there's more to choose from, and also next week there'll be new stuff coming on the market. The week after that, so I think it's good news.
And anecdotally, we're hearing that while there are still bidding wars or competing offer situations, it's typically not the 20 offers and the 17 offers. It's 3 or 4. So it's just a little bit different dynamic. It feels different. It feels more buyer friendly.
Question number 2.
Yes, sir.
So this is good. This is
yes, I like this.
Do I really need to waive contingencies to win a house?
Okay, so no one ever needed to, and no one ever had to, and that's something that a good agent will consult with you on, or with a buyer on. And we had many strategies that we developed, that we employed, with our buyers, for our buyers, that allowed them to win, or help them to win the house, if you will, in competing situations, because there were terms that worked well for the seller and for the buyer. As we say at Keller Williams, a win-win situation. So an example, if I may, many of our buyers were not waiving inspections when other buyers were.
Yeah.
They were doing them within 2 days. We would set the inspection up before the offer was made, and that allows the agent to keep the listing live in MLS, so it's not tainted at all if for some reason the transaction doesn't stay together. And also, the buyer doesn't, when the inventory is low, the buyer's not missing out on many days of inventory that might come on the market should that transaction not proceed. So there are many win-win terms and conditions that we counsel our buyers. It's about being strategic, about counseling. We always say we advise, they decide, but we give a lot of advice and a lot of counsel and a lot of handicapping.
Well, and this idea of it being a win-win, if you think of it this way, oftentimes, if there's no inspection because they've been convinced to waive the inspection, and the seller thinks, oh, good, no inspection, I have no problems, it's clear sailing to the closing. It's what can happen post-closing when some problem does arise, and the buyer says, I never would have bought this home.
If I had
maybe
known.
maybe the seller knew, didn't tell me. The seller's not out of that liability loop.
Right.
But if there's an inspection done and an inspector uncovers an issue, in this kind of white-hot market that we've been through, we saw buyers that said, that's okay, I'll take it anyway, I just want to know.
Right.
And so that couldn't come back against the seller later. So there was a benefit to sellers having an inspection happen on their house because it gave them a little bit of absolution. I believe that, you, with training the team, created a benefit for the clients on how to, the buyer clients certainly, to get what they were looking for, which was to be able to make an informed decision. And it benefited the seller, the agents involved, and the buyer client, all because it happened quickly. There wasn't a lot of time wasted. We're going to do the inspection in 2 weeks. We'll do it in
Crazy.
2 days.
Yep.
And inspectors in this market, because so many buyers that thought they had to waive, were widely available.
The Maytag men, right?
Yeah.
And that's just one example. But
Sure.
the point is that we always, we like to say there are 100 blanks on, or over 100 blanks on the purchase and sale agreement, our version of the offer form in New Hampshire. So there's much more to discuss other than just the price. And that's really, and the sort of the combination of all those terms is what makes an offer acceptable to a seller or not. So it's never, there have never been, it was never a need to behave a certain way. It's really the combination. That's what we counsel on.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions for the radio program?
Well, I was prepared to ask you only two. That's all I was
oopsie.
told. But let me just listen.
You have your list there.
I've got a list. Why are homes under 500,000 moving so fast?
That's a great question.
Well, that's why I'm asking it. No, actually, the consumers are. On the listener line, WGIR 610 AM on your AM dial.
So the median price in New Hampshire is just over 500. You probably know the exact number, yes?
535.
Thank you. And so, whenever in any market, when you get into the sort of higher price ranges, there is less competition. So that's just a very hot price range. There are more buyers out there for fewer listings. I mean, and we've seen recently, specifically in Bedford, there was, I don't know, maybe 6-8 weeks ago, all of a sudden, there were many homes $1 million and up, right? And so there are already basically fewer buyers as you get higher into the higher points in any market. And then we had more inventory. So the opposite is true when you get into the 500,000, under 500, it's below the median price. There are many, many buyers vying for those homes, and there are fewer listings in that range. It's pretty simple. Supply and demand, I guess, is the answer to that, right?
Well, and it's also supply and demand, and also supply of buyers looking for that.
Right.
There's just a huge amount of buyers that qualify for that price of home or less. And foot traffic, you can just look at the foot traffic, and we do a open house analysis to figure out where our foot traffic's coming from, so we can share it with our clients every week. Anyway,
okay,
there you go. There's three
questions.
hot questions.
Hot
Hopefully you're a little
questions.
bit smarter as a result of our discussion here. That's the aim of good deeds.
You want to remind us when the radio program is on?
It's 9 to 10 every Saturday morning, and it's live to tape. I don't want you to think that I'm in a radio station at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. There's plenty of other things to do at that hour. Showing homes, maybe not, maybe playing golf.
Catching up on sports for the next week's radio program. All right, well, that's it for today. So thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune into our YouTube channel.